This is Joshua Hart here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by Nick Campbell here over Zoom today. Nick, like I just said off camera, it's been a while, but how is everything, mate? You all good?
Yeah, all good, man. All good, Josh. Just working away, keeping busy, but aye, all good.
Very, very good to hear. Let's get straight into things. It's a very, very big week, especially in the heavyweight division here in the UK. Oleksandr Usyk and Daniel Dubois topped the bill this Saturday at Wembley Stadium, and one of the most anticipated rematches of the year so far after the first fight back in 2023. Um, First of all, how does Daniel Dubois, how does he need to approach this fight on Saturday in order to right the wrongs of 2023?
Seek and destroy. I think if Daniel Dubois tries to outbox Alexander Usyk, it's a massive mistake. The only chance I give him is if he goes in there and tries to bowl him out like he did to Anthony Joshua inside 5 rounds. So I think the tactics are simple. Go in there with massive pressure and try and get him out of there early doors.
Something that we know with Usyk is that the size of the opponent has never really mattered to him, and we've learned that especially after his last two fights against Tyson Fury. So, away from the size for Daniel Dubois, do you see him having any other advantages anywhere?
Listen, I don't think that like I've said in previous interviews, Daniel Dubois isn't a hard fighter to work out. You know what he's going to do? He's going to come in, he's going to look to set you with that jab, then he's going to try and bowl over with the right hand and clean your head off your shoulders. I mean, it's no it's no great secret. Do you know what I mean? That's his tactics, and it's hard to stop. You know, it's like one of those. A lot of the time when I was playing rugby, we used to have a coach and we were pretty good up front, and he would say they know we're good up front, but how are they going to stop it? It's the same thing with Daniel Dubois. You know how good he is at what he does, how are you going to stop it? So he's not hard to work out for Usyk. Usyk knows what he's going to do. It's just about can Daniel Dubois make it work and unlock, yeah, a puzzle that nobody else has been able to do yet.
Do you believe Usyk will be able to avoid the right hand again? He's done it once before. Do you reckon he can do it again?
Yeah, definitely. Listen, I favour Usyk. I think it would be foolish not to. I think, like you've alluded to, any time he's been asked, he's answered. And a very, very, very good fighter, world class, generational great, probably the greatest of this generation at heavyweight and cruiserweight. So it's a massive ask for Daniel Dubois on Saturday night.
A lot has been made with Usyk and the split with longtime promoter Alex Krashok in the about 4 weeks out from the fight. Do you read anything into that? Some people hinting that maybe Usyk maybe getting ready for retirement.
Yeah, it could be. I think looking at it, they've still got a great relationship, and I feel like whatever the decision was, or I don't actually know too much about it. I obviously read it like everybody else, but I've not looked into it too much. And I think obviously it was a mutual decision that was for everybody's benefit. So yeah, it could be preparing for retirement. Like I said, I don't really know what else the guy's got to prove. Undisputed at cruiserweight and heavyweight, beat everybody that's been put in front of him. And yeah, if he goes on to beat Daniel Duane on Saturday night again, you know, what else does he have to prove? He's got nobody else to fight. He's got, he beat everybody that he's ever fought. Olympic gold medalist, two-time undisputed cruiser and heavyweight world champion. It's kind of, what he's still fighting for other than money and legacy. But his legacy's already there. So yeah, I don't know what else he has to prove.
Something we've seen Don Charles and Daniel Dubois say is where they train, they can see the Wembley Towers, they can see the arch of the stadium, and Wembley is almost like home to them. But Alexander Usyk has fought many Brits now and fought many Brits in Britain and beat them all. So do you see Wembley being the home, or do you see it as the probably the a neutral venue come Saturday night?
Listen, it's a boxing ring at the end of the day, wherever that boxing ring is, whether it's, Wembley, whatever, Saudi Arabia, it doesn't matter. That's where Alexander Usyk is at home. So you can put the location anywhere, but in the boxing ring, that guy's at home. And yeah, I don't think he'll be too phased by the crowds. We know that Daniel Dubois definitely won't be too phased by the crowd. I think it's going to be a hell of a fight. But yeah, listen, if they think that that's going to give them an edge, or I've obviously been to the training camp with Daniel, and you can see Wembley. It's quite cool every time you come out the gym. You look across and you can see Wembley in the distance, the big arch. So yeah, maybe it'll give them a wee 1 or 2% boost, but. I don't see it making much difference in the outcome of the fight.
Do you feel it just gives Dubois, obviously you mentioned giving it the 1 or 2%, but in just the sense of every time he leaves a session, he can see where he's going to be fighting, and it's almost like that's the end goal. It's almost a bit more of a motivator in camp for him, and a bit of a reminder, I guess you could say.
Nah, because Daniel Dubois, I feel, has been a bit disrespectful of Usyk in the build up to this fight. Um, you looked at the initial, kind of press conferences and they were mentioning the body shot and he's an old man and he jumped in the ring after his last fight and called him out. So I think Alexander Usyk's got all the motivation in the world. I don't think anybody's got an edge on motivation when it comes to that. And I think that Usyk's going to be looking to shut up the young, kind of arrogant other world champion in his opinion. So listen, it's a chance for him to become a two. Has anybody ever done that? Become a two-time undisputed world champion? I don't think they have.
I don't think at heavyweight, no.
Nah, so listen, I think the motivation is there for both men. And I wouldn't say either fighter has an edge. And like I said, Usyk's home is the boxing ring. So it doesn't really matter whether it's in Wembley, Old Trafford, Celtic Park. That guy's going to be at home in there.
How big of a difference has that Don Charles made with the bar? We know the first fight with Usyk, Don was in the corner, but it had only been a 6 to 8 week process, whereas now there's another 3 fights since then, and a real big rebuild since then. How big of a difference has Don made in that time, and what improvements have you seen with the bar?
Oh, listen, massive. I really rate Don. I've got a lot of respect for him. I think he's a great coach. And yeah, listen, if Daniel hadn't teamed up with Don, then he's potentially not going to be one of the most dangerous, opponents out there for Usyk. I think outside of Joe Parker, Caballero, and Dubois, that there's nobody else really in that bracket right now. And Don Charles helped put Daniel in that bracket. So, no, I think their styles mix well. The relationship they have is really good. Shane McGuigan's a world class coach, but maybe Don just gels better with Daniel and their personalities mix quite well. And obviously Daniel's camp and his dad and everything they can meet eye to eye and really see eye to eye and a lot of things to do with training. So yeah, I think Don's definitely a massive reason why Daniel's in this position, the IBF world champion, done a demolition job on Anthony Joshua. Had two really tough fights before that, in Jarrell Miller and Philip Hergovich. So Don has to take a lot of credit for the run that Daniel's been on and the form he's in. And like I said, I don't think he's in this position right now if it wasn't for Don.
Ultimately, with everything being said, how do you see this fight playing out on Saturday, and who do you see coming out on top?
Like I've said, I think physically Daniel is a superior, he's a superior athlete at this stage in his career. Big, strong, physical, powerful, fit man. So, listen, Usyk is an incredibly fit athlete and a great athlete and great boxer as well. But I just think the IQ, and I don't think Daniel is going to be able to work out a set a pace. I think Usyk's feints, he's going to upset his rhythm. He's never going to let him get set. And I just think that's going to really upset Daniel. And I could see. Yeah, a wide points, a late stoppage for Usyk. But having said that, if Daniel comes in, gets in his rhythm, sets an incredibly high pace, and goes in there and lands some telling shots early on, then who knows, he could stop him in 4, 5, 6 rounds. He's got the capability of doing that. I just think that Usyk is a master thinker and has one of the highest boxing IQ out there at the moment. Well, he's up there with one or two other guys, but I think he's just going to have too much for Daniel upstairs on the night.
Just sticking in the heavyweight division, we saw some big news come out, I believe, last week or the week before. Tyson Fury is going to be coming back next year, and at the time said it'll be a trilogy with Usyk. So I guess we believe he beats it. He believes Usyk wins as well. What have you made of the whole fiasco with Tyson Fury over the last couple of weeks and this comeback?
Yeah, listen, it's Tyson, innit? Of course he's going to make a comeback. I don't think anybody genuinely believed him when he said that he was retired. And as well, just on that, like, he could have been in his head retired, but then a couple of months passed by. He's going to the gym every day. He's got nothing else to do. It's just the type of character as I think his mindset and his personality he needs something. He needs boxing in his life. I think he'd be a bit lost without it. And I don't think he would want to finish his career on a loss like he did. So yeah, that doesn't surprise me. And yeah, if Usyk does win, then it does make for the trilogy. But obviously the belts are all going to be split up and fragmented after this fight, I believe. If Dubois wins, then maybe Tyson and Dubois is a fight that can be made. But there's other mandatory challenges. You know, Joe Parker's the WBO mandatory, isn't he? So there's a few other guys out there with stakes to the belts and stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. Listen, styles make fights as well. I think if Tyson was to be fighting Dubois, I think it'd be a completely one-sided beatdown. I think Tyson would, yeah, take Dubois apart because styles make fights, and Tyson's just too big, too strong, and too elusive. Would upset Daniel's rhythm, but like I say, it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. And yeah, listen, the money will be there, won't it, for Usyk Fury or Fury Joshua? That's still probably the biggest fight in boxing financially. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. The belts are all going to get split up. Certain guys have been waiting a long time now for their shot, and I don't think it can be put off any longer. So yeah, it was good. Listen, it's all the pantomime in it. It's all showbiz and gets people talking, more people interested in the sport. So yeah, let's just see what happens.
We'll come on to those mandatory challenges in a minute because there is a big queue of mandatory challenges at heavyweight. But just sticking with Fury quickly, do you believe all the signs that we're seeing right now? Do you believe all roads are going to lead to ultimately the big Anthony Joshua fight that, us as fans we've been wanting to see for years upon years now? Do you feel this is what the road's going to lead to, and we are going to see that fight hopefully at the beginning of 2026?
I think so. I think so. I don't actually think Usyk's going to have any interest in fighting Fury again, other than it's probably £100 million payday if he does. So yeah, it has to be really. I think for both men, that's the only real fight for Anthony Joshua out there. I don't think there's another fight for him. For Tyson, he's probably only got the Usyk rematch or a match against Joshua. That's the only two fights that he's got out there. So yeah, all roads do kind of lead to either him and Joshua having the big dust up at Wembley, or I think it's unlikely, but the rematch with Usyk.
Obviously, looking at the managed challengers, the WBC, you've got Ajit Kabayel, the WBA, you've got Fabio Wardley, and obviously a good friend of yours, Joe Parker, the WBO, which is over a year now he's held that title. Um, have you had any like conversation with Joe? How frustrating has it been from us, especially off the back of the Bicoli fight? Kind of
No,
sidelined again, it feels like.
I've not actually spoke to Joe in a couple of weeks, so I genuinely have no inside info. But seen recently, Andy had a very great night over in New York with Hamza there, but he was getting asked the questions about Joe, and he just said, he's massively frustrated. We've been sat out on the sidelines. He's done everything he can. He's beat anybody that was put in front of him. And like you said, it doesn't really make sense for him to risk his position. And I think their ultimate goal now is to see what happens on Saturday night and then take it from there. But yeah, like I said, I think, Caballero's a great fighter as well. He arguably deserves a shot at a world title. Um, Fabio Wardley, maybe one or two fights away still, in my opinion, from a title shot. I don't think he's done as much as those other two we've mentioned, Joe or Agate, but yeah, he's not far away, and there's not that many guys far behind him either, is there? You've got Moses Itauma coming through, who looks as if he's been kind of pushed into a mandatory position as quick as they can. So yeah, I think it's interesting times, but those two guys especially deserve a shot at a title, Agate and Joe. So definitely be interesting to see what happens after Saturday. Also adding Tyson back into the mix, Joshua back into the mix. You know that Turkey likes Anthony and Tyson, so he can pull a lot of strings and make a lot of calls now with the money that he's got behind him. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
You mentioned Moses Itauma. What are your thoughts on his matchup against Dillian Whyte?
Yeah, listen, I think he probably beats Dylan in quite devastating fashion now, to be honest with you, inside 6 rounds. And it's a fight that makes a lot of sense for him. Dylan's got a good reputation, proud, strong man, dangerous as well. That's not to say, listen, it's heavyweight boxing, it only takes one punch, and we've not seen Moses under any real pressure yet. But I think if you look at it on paper, it's a great matchup. If you look at it realistically, Dylan's been a long time out of the ring since he's had any meaningful fight. He obviously had that ban there off the back of the drugs stuff. And yeah, I think it's a great fight for Moses, a great opportunity for him to become even more of a household name, make a real statement and win and look good doing it.
Also, you mentioned you believe in the belts will fragment, which I think a lot of people would agree with. Do you believe we could see Moses Itauma challenge for a world title before the end of the year if he is to beat Dillian Whyte?
Listen, if he did, you would probably say it's unfair because of how long some other guys have had to wait. But it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me. I think, what is he? Is he not quite high up in a few of the rankings? I think he's,
I think he's WBO #1.
yeah. So listen, it could be that Joe has to end up fighting Moses for a vacant WBO world title. Who knows? But yeah, let's see what happens. But no, nothing would surprise me in boxing, as I'm sure it wouldn't surprise you either, or
Uh-huh.
most other people out there. And I think listen, who knows? Probably looking at it, it's a wee bit unfair, but that's boxing in it, and it's what people want to see that gets the fights at the end of the day. So be interesting to see how it plays out.
Absolutely. Nick, top man, really do appreciate your time this afternoon. Always good to catch up, and I'm sure we'll speak, no doubt, Sunday afternoon after we see the outcome of the undisputed heavyweight title fight.
Definitely. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for having me, Josh. Hope everybody enjoys the fight on Saturday, and I hope everybody's excited to see how it's going to play out after.
Top man, Nick.